So when I'm traveling, I like to do this thing where I print one photo a day. It's something fun to do, and it gives me a goal with all my photos that I take throughout the day. Like when I'm traveling, I'll take like 100 photos a day, and most of the time it sits in a hard drive, never to be seen again. If it's lucky, 1 or 2 of them might make it to Instagram. Usually, I don't see those photos ever again. So printing out a photo a day, it's fun, it's something to do, and it's neat to actually hold a print in my hand. And what I've been using to do that is the Instax Mini Link 2. Now I used to use the HP Sprocket here, but I found that finding refill paper for this was a little bit hard to do, especially when I'm places like Singapore or Thailand. And with the Instax, you can probably like pop into a 7-Eleven and find refills. The refills for this thing are everywhere. So that's the main reason I switched from the HP to the Instax. Now I did borrow the Canon Ivy from a friend of mine right here, and it uses the same paper as the HP does. So I'm thinking I'm probably gonna have the same issues with this that I have with the HP with finding refills when I'm traveling. But yeah, that's gonna be a different video where I test out all 3 of these printers. But for now, what I've been using is the Instax Mini Link 2. Now what I do with these prints is after I print them out, I've been putting them in a travel journal. I get these from a Travels Factory, and I get like a different insert every time I go somewhere. And this is like from my last trip to Japan, and like, you know, I got train tickets and photo each day. Here's one here. The next day is over at Hiroshima, and then another one from Miyajima. But yeah, it's a great way to make a souvenir for my trip. Another thing I'll do with the photos that I'll display them, like especially with the Instax, what I do is I'll take the cartridge inserts once they're empty, and I will take the print and just put it back in there. And now I can like display it on my desktop somewhere. Like it's a free frame. And if I want to change it out, just put another photo in there, and there you go. When I'm traveling, it stores the photos and it works as a little display. Like I'll put it over on my desk wherever I'm staying in the hotel, and it's just neat to have a little frame of the photo I've taken. But yeah, that's my little Instax hack. Don't steal that from me. No, steal that from me. Go ahead. Now my workflow for this one print a day thing is throughout the day I'll take photos with my camera. At the end of the day I'll put it into my laptop, find the photo that I want to print for the day, edit it in Lightroom, send that over to my phone, and then print it off the app on my cell phone. It's a long process. Now if you're gonna do something like this, you don't need to do this whole workflow that I'm doing. Like you don't even need a camera like this. You just take the photo with your cell phone, print it out, you're good to go. If you want a real challenge, you can actually just get an actual Instax camera, take 1 photo a day, and you're done. Like you don't have to worry about sending it to the app, printing it out, or anything. My problem with using the Instax camera as my print of the day is that I like to choose a photo I want to print for the day. I already know the first 5 photos I take, they're gonna be blurry. Not even a question about it. It's gonna be messed up, it's not gonna be good. And then that 6th photo is gonna be a great photo. But then 2 hours later, it's gonna be an even better photo to print. So I just like to choose which photo I wanna print for the day. It's just my thing. Anyways, my last trip to Japan, I actually just got back a couple days ago. I'm a little bit jet lagged, honestly, but let me talk about the print I made for each day. All right, so first off was travel day. Not really many photos I took that day, so here it is, just a shot from the window of the plane. My layover was in Montreal, and it was pretty cool because it was just snow everywhere. So it's a pretty cool shot. The next day I was actually in Japan, and we went over to the fish market, and I got this photo of this guy prepping the fish to be sold at the market. I thought it was a pretty cool shot. The next day we headed over to Odaiba, and we pretty much spent the whole day there filming camera reviews. And here's a shot of the Statue of Liberty over there, and little tourist here next to it. Statue of Liberty is not as big as the one that you know in New York City, but it's still neat to see a Statue of Liberty in Japan. All right, the next day we took the Shinkansen and went all the way to Kyoto. It was a rainy day, but I got this pretty cool picture of this person taking a picture of their hand, holding up an umbrella. I thought it was a cool shot. Alright, the next day we went over to the monkey park in Kyoto. I really like this photo. It looks like the humans are the ones in the cage and the monkeys are the one watching them. But it's actually an open area where monkeys can walk right by you and everything. There's little cage house areas where you go in to feed the monkeys safely. It's a pretty cool shot. Pretty funny shot. Alright, next day we hung out in Gion, and I took this photo at one of the temples that's near there. I like this shot because of like the traditional entrance gate to the temple. But when you're looking at the outside, you can see like all the modern day traffic. It just seemed cool to have a present and past at the same time. Alright, day 7, my buddy Gene, he actually stayed back in Tokyo. He actually caught back up with us. We hung out over in Osaka. We were mostly in Dotonbori area. It was just a lot of energy, a lot of food, a lot of people, and we were testing out cameras again. Here's a shot of Frank and Gene doing what they do, talk about cameras. Alright, next day I'm back in Kyoto, and honestly I was a little sick. I had a little bit of a cold, but I still went out, wasn't trying to waste a day at the hotel, and I got this shot over at one of the pagodas. I don't remember the name of this one exactly. Posted here on the screen somewhere. I stood here for a while. I was waiting for someone in an outfit to walk by to get them in the center of the shot. From the Instax print, it looks pretty good. In the actual photo, she's blurry as can be. But because of the Instax print, it came out pretty well, so I'm happy with this print still. All right, next day, back in Tokyo, and we were over in Shinjuku in this little food district area. It's like 200 restaurants lined straight down this row. It was cool, and in the middle is Frank again. Right, the next day was actually Gene's birthday, and he wanted to go to the art museum, the Team Labs Borderless Museum. I took this picture over there. This is over at the flower exhibit, and it was like mirrors everywhere. I just took a picture downwards of myself. Selfie shot? Feet pic? Not feet pic. Scratch that. Either way, it's a cool shot, and finally a photo of myself that I got printed. Alright, so the next day, Frank and Gene went back home. Also, I was by myself, and I traveled over to Niigata. Got this print over at the market by the pier. It was hard to get a photo here because there was no one there. It was open, so you could go into stores or restaurants and buy something, but for some reason there was just no one hanging out there. Here's a shot, so I just took a picture of myself. Alright, next day, still in Niigata, and I got the shot over at the restaurant street. I don't know what it's called. There's just a lot of restaurants on the street. It would have been cooler if I had him facing me, but I still think it came out pretty good though, even though it's his back. Alright, next day I left Niigata and went to Yamagata, and I realized I have not been taking any pictures of food this whole time. So I figured time to take a picture of food. What I ate this day was tonkatsu, which is like deep fried pork cutlets. It's probably one of my favorite Japanese dishes, honestly, whenever I visit Japan. And this one was good. Man, I'm just looking at this photo, it makes me wish I was back in Japan. Alright, so the next day I took the bus to Mount Zhao, took 2 rail cars all the way up to the top of the mountain, and I got this shot. I ended up on the rooftop of one of the buildings. I don't know if I was supposed to be there or not because no one else was there, but I found this little opening through the snow of like people like hanging out on top of the mountain, so this is the shot I took for the day. The next day I went over to the Ginzan Onsen, also known as the Spirited Away place, and I got this shot in the day. It's one of the spring water things. It did smell like sulfur throughout the whole village town area, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't super strong. I was there the whole day, and honestly, when the sun goes down and everything's lit up, it looks so much better out there. So if you're going to visit Ginzan Onsen, I suggest going during sunset. You can go a little earlier if you want to see it throughout the day, but the shot to get is definitely at nighttime. Alright, I had to reset real quick because my top-down camera died. I think we're good now. I think we're good. But yeah, let me rewind to where this thing cut off, and it should be right here, or where I was back in Tokyo over at Nakamise Street doing some shopping. That's where Sensoji Temple's at. And I was trying to do a thumbnail shot over there, and I couldn't figure out where I should be standing, so I was just taking photos of people walking by. And this photo of this guy walking by came out pretty good. Like, I like how this came out. He's actually blurry again, like my other photo where he's blurry, but the thing in the background isn't. But because the Instax print, it still looks pretty good though. Alright, the next day I went over to the University of Tokyo to get the photo of the statue. It's Hachiko and the professor. I've been trying to see this statue for a few years now. Like, I've been to Japan a few times and I never find time to go see the statue, and I finally went to go see it. 10 feet away from this statue is a building that houses the internal organs of Hachi, like his heart, lungs, spleen, and liver. It's weird, but it's pretty cool. Like, I'm pretty infatuated with this dog, but yeah, his body is in a museum somewhere in Ueno. He's all over the place. Alright, so my last full day in Tokyo, I went over to this place, Azabudai Hills. A buddy that I met in Yamagata was telling me about this place, and you can go up the observation deck and get a view of Tokyo, and the best part is the observation deck's free. So I got this shot of someone taking a picture of the Tokyo Tower, and I actually like this shot. It's probably one of my favorite shots that I've took this whole thing. This and the monkey one. The next day, headed back home, so had the usual photo from the airport. If you're over at Narita Airport, they have an observation deck, which is pretty neat because you can just step outside and get a photo of the whole runway. You can get the planes taken off. I wish I had a longer lens to get a better shot of this, but I still came out pretty good though. I like how this came out. So yeah, 19 photos, 1 print a day. It's fun. Like, I do this every time I'm traveling. I love doing it. It's fun. I don't know a better way to describe it. But yeah, let me go ahead and start putting all this stuff away and go to bed because the jet lag is absolutely destroying me. I'm fighting through it right now. Good night. See ya. Whatever.